I'm Edwin Warfield. I'm the publisher of CityBiz. I'm honored today to interview Stephen McCarty, who is the chairman and CEO of UHY. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you, Edwin. It's nice to be with you today.
Can you provide an introduction to UHY? How many accountants, offices, revenues, the footprint of UHY?
Sure. Thank you. Yeah. As part of UHY International, we comprise the 16th largest network of independent accounting and consulting firms in the world. We've got over 300 business centers across 100 countries. Here in the United States, our firm actually grew during the pandemic, and we broke through 1,000 employees. We've got offices currently in the Great Lakes, Northeast, Midwest, Mid-Atlantic, and the Texas Gulf Coast markets. Accounting Today reported us at number 31 based on last year's revenues, which were just over 181 million. And considering there's 45,000 CPA firms in the USA, that's an impressive accomplishment, I think. We focus principally on closely held, privately owned, and private equity owned businesses. And we're also seeing a surge in SPAC and public company work. An interesting dynamic from when I started with the firm. I'd work with second or third or even fourth generation businesses. And, a partner's top 5 accounts wouldn't change over time. It would always be those same family businesses. And today our world is turning into private equity. So we're seeing more and more private equity come down and into our middle market. And so now those relationships change as families have monetized their investments and have liquidity events.
So you were named CEO in January of 2019. Can you tell us about some of your milestones since being promoted to CEO and how you navigated through COVID?
I think I've got a little bit more gray hair after coming through COVID, no doubt about it. So, what I did, I'm very grateful to serve as CEO here at UHY. And, one of the very first things I did in 2019 was I really transitioned our focus, to the legacy that each and every one of our MDs are really creating every day at UHY. And so we have a national leadership conference every year. And in 2019, I dedicated and focused the entire conference around our legacy. And, our mission is really to shine a spotlight on all our incredible people and, how we engage with them and how we can accelerate their careers. When you mentioned milestones, I think some of the things I'm proud of, we've created a HRP program. That's our Human Resources Partner Program. A little different than a mentoring program, but at UHY, we have every colleague is assigned a relationship with a partner, with a managing director. And they have deep conversations about career, about personal interests and goals and objectives. And we want to try to help each colleague here at UHY grow. We've also united our human resources team nationally around the country. And I've been sending regular messages every 2 or 3 weeks to all of our MDs around the country, encouraging them to really put themselves out there and to mentor and to share their experiences coming up with staff members. And, I'm proud to say that the result of that is headcount growth. During that pandemic, we actually added over 150 new people to the firm. I think it's resulted in better client service and overall firm growth from a top line perspective. Other things that, we've been done, prior to the pandemic, we implemented a brand new ERP system inside the firm, which is a big expense for us, for any CPA firm to do. But that's really the engine and the infrastructure that, will allow us to really grow and double our size. We've invested heavily in technology. And in fact, just prior to the pandemic, fortunately, we invested in quite a bit of technology to better engage with our clients and our people. And we did all of this having no idea, what we were going to be walking into in 2020 with the pandemic. You talk about the COVID, and managing through that process. We we essentially opened 1,000 offices overnight is what I kind of always say, because every one of our people, we took remote, and we did that prior to any state or government talking about restrictions or closing. We thought it was the right thing to do for the health and safety of all of our team members to move quickly to that. So, our management team here at UHY, right from the beginning, we focused 100% on team. We had no layoffs, no furloughs, no mass terminations, no pay cuts. And I'm very proud of our partners. I mean, it shows, that they all stepped up, and I want history to remember that we did the right thing when it came to protecting, our people and caring for our people and their families. In fact, we just announced here yesterday, we had a memorandum come out from our chief operating officer, Michael Antofsky, that the firm board of directors approved our largest 401k match in firm history. So over $2 million, and that's part of our people-focused culture that we've got here at UHY. And, I think our history at UHY shows during these challenging times, we tend to lean in and, we work hard, we roll up the sleeves, and the result is we came out a stronger firm, and our unity is stronger than ever, and we've grown, and it's, made us a better firm. I think the lesson learned for me during this pandemic was, some of the very people that thought we could never be remote or never have a really flexible workforce. I need all my people where I can see them. They all learned very quickly that, we can be pretty effective working remotely. And if I look out in the office here today, it kind of looks like a frat house. There's all young people in here. It's amazing how the energy level and the excitement of all of our young people at the office, and our senior partners are finding their way back too. But I think that a permanent result of this pandemic is a very flexible work environment here at UHY going forward.
And you spent 30 years at UHY. Can you provide some highlights of your career? And I watched one of your interviews that said you have a shop floor approach. So can you go tell us what that means?
Well, first of all, 30 years. Gosh, that sounds like a long time. I still remember the day I started, and I still remember being in the cubes. There's so many great memories and experiences and friends here. And I love what I do, and I'm very blessed to work with such talented people. I learned from some very smart partners, and I've made lifelong friendships with clients and attorneys and bankers and other professionals. When you mentioned the shop floor attitude, yeah, that's, I've always been interested and curious about where our clients really make money. I love to, think about tax strategies that I would only see if I were to walk the shop floor. Things like, alternative fuel credits for high-lows, or research and development credits, or tax incentives around labor expansion, rolling stock exemptions, industrial tax exemptions. But I always say tax strategies are discussed in the conference rooms and in the boardrooms, but tax savings are identified on the shop floor. So that's my shop floor attitude. But personally, for me, at UHY, I actually started in our tax team. I transitioned to our audit practice. And then about 10 years ago, I created our corporate finance practice, so investment banking here at the firm. Been wildly successful, focusing on our middle market clientele. That transitioned me to our board. Ultimately, was elected CEO and serve now as chairman and CEO of our firm.
So what are the primary service lines of UHY, and are there any new service lines planned in the near future?
Yeah, our main service lines here at UHY are really on the audit and the tax side are what we focus on. But there's if you think about the size of our firm, that's a lot of business in those two buckets compared to our peer group. But I think what we've looked at is that's the opportunity for us to grow quite dramatically. So we've really invested in our UHY Consulting. That's based in Atlanta, Georgia. But they really have just a team, I think there's 60, 70 some people that are great program managers, shop floor experience, specializing in digital transformation, Blackline and Planful. New initiatives for us. We created, just a couple of years ago when we, took over here as CEO, we implemented client accounting and advisory services, and we've procured some very robust software around Sage Intacct and Bill Pay and Expensify, and we've created a team in all of our regions to really assist with outsourcing those accounting opportunities to UHY, where we sometimes find that at maybe a nonprofit or a closely held business, they may not be able to attract the best talent in that capacity. And here you're going to get the A team, and you'll get timely financial reporting and accurate financial reporting. So that's been a really big growth area for us, and it will be a continued growth area. Other service lines, we've also added a research and development team led by Todd Sutherland. Todd's based in our Houston Gulf Coast region. We've added cost segregation led by Heather Benson. We've really formalized and focused our national business valuation team. We've grown quite dramatically in the SPAC market and the public company work. So we've got a great team led by John Bautista, Jake Katz, Albert Allen, Brad Southern, just some folks doing some great work there. I mentioned our corporate finance practice continues to grow. We just added another vice president of investment banking in our Midwest, in our St. Louis office as well. Our quality of earnings team, led by Christina Annabelle and Alex DiBartolomeo and Mamet Sangulin, they continue to do incredible work for both private equity sponsors and acquirers around the country. So that's a continuing growth area for us. We're investigating wealth advisory. A lot of our peer group of firms have really deep wealth advisory practices, and it's not been something UHY has been part of. Also government services consulting led by Jack Reagan in our Maryland offices. Jack does a great job there. Cybersecurity is a huge growing market for us, led by Rich Peters and Norm Comstock. And most recently, I'll say one of the most recent groups that we formed is a dispute resolution center. When shareholders of private companies or public companies may have disputes, or attorneys looking for working capital solutions. John Farrow joined us in New York and has really headed that team for us. So, Edwin, we kind of think of ourselves as a full service firm. We're focusing on all the services that the dynamic middle market needs, and we want to make sure that we can provide those. But I also think that, we've created a great solution for regional firms, that are looking to merge up, while keeping the attributes that made them successful.
So that's a good segue to my next question about your recent acquisitions. You did one in Sarasota Springs, you did one in Farmington, Connecticut, and you did a consulting firm in Raleigh. Tell us about those acquisitions. And obviously two were sort of accounting firms and another one was consulting. So tell us about those acquisitions and what you're looking for going forward.
Yeah, we're looking for like-minded CPAs that really want to provide great services to middle market businesses. But, I mentioned earlier 45,000 CPA firms. This pandemic has really identified that there's going to be continued consolidation in this space. It's accelerated some of that consolidation because infrastructure is an expensive investment, and having scale allows CPA firms to provide better services, to their customers and clients. So when we think about, those targets and those firms that joined us, recruiting has been very difficult for them to identify great talent. So, recruiting is something. We have a national recruiting team for experienced hires. We also have a national on-campus team for, those coming fresh out of college. Think about training and treasury and insurance and legal and human resources, you name it. All those things take time away, an opportunity away from great regional leadership. So I think UHY solves the problem and lets great CPAs do what they're best at, servicing clients. And our platform is very entrepreneurial and very unique. I don't think you'll find it anywhere else. So most recently, we've had more firms join us too. In addition to those, in the Hudson Valley of New York, we had a great firm, PKHB, join in with us. Port Huron, Michigan, we've added a firm. Ann Arbor, Michigan, and in Kansas City, we've also added firms there. And I mentioned earlier the Gulf Coast region in Houston. We are quickly growing that market and talking to a number of different firms in that Texas market that we think, could have good alignment with UHY. But we've been making strategic hires already and have already doubled our size of our office there in a very short period of time in just 18 months. So we're going to continue to grow through acquisition.
And what is the growth and retention of women program? What's involved in that?
Yeah, we call it WISE. So at UHY, it's WISE. It's Women Invested in Success and Excellence. And Sue Heitz and one of our board members, Susan Orr, are key leaders of that initiative for us. And our mission is, as UHY continues to evolve, is to continue to find more women inside our firm and continue to help them grow, having flexible workplaces where necessary, and getting them into management as well. And I think that our track record shows it. We continue to make more and more female partners every year. In fact, record numbers at UHY. And today we have women in key roles on our board. Cindy Hannafy and Susan Orr, two great board members that we work with. Our assurance practice leaders, Cynthia Schur and Bettina Dufault. Our China practice leaders, Melanie Chen. Our cost segregation practice leader is Heather Benson. Our CFO is Lori Kirch. We've got many, many well-deserving assurance and tax and consulting women managing directors in our firm. So I think we've come a long way. And I've also signed with other leaders of major professional services firms a DE&I pledge. And it's not a competitive issue. It's a societal issue. We've got a long history at UHY of mentoring, coaching, and developing minority businesses and leaders. And I think what we're trying to do is take that same intensity that we focus outside the firm and bring it inside and bring new energy inward into that space.
Where are you trying to expand your footprint, and will you be doing acquisitions that are sort of outside the accounting practice area?
Yeah, well, we are super excited about the opportunity we have. And, as we continue to find those like-minded CPA firms to join and want to become a premier middle market provider, we think we can do that together. And we're not just chasing growth, though, Edwin. We've said no, to many firms that have approached us that there's just not a culture alignment, and that's really, really important. We want to be very successful, controlled growth, and we're looking for firms that we can identify that we can help grow or supersize their growth by providing ancillary services that they might not have, such as some of those different service lines I mentioned earlier. But, the foundation of our plan is all about people. It's developing more people and creating career growth opportunities for all of them. And, I'm a firm believer that UHY can provide, a life-changing career, if our folks will just commit to public accounting and give it a chance. And I want them to stay at UHY, and I want them to become a partner. Our strategic plan is going to be to double this firm in size in a very short period of time, which means twice as many partners and twice as many people. That's a lot of opportunity. And you mentioned about the kinds of firms we're looking at. We're staying in our lane of looking for those core, solid accounting and tax firms. We feel that we can, again, offload many of the administrative responsibilities that they have, but also bring to them all of those other services, those ancillary services that they can better serve their clients with. We are looking at some other data and analytics type businesses as well that might complement our practice, as well as cyber firms that have expressed interest in joining us. But we're really focused on those audit and tax practices. We want to grow our presence in Texas. We want to have a larger office in South Florida. We like the Carolinas, love that Tennessee market. Indianapolis is a great market for us, Ohio. So, probably through that Midwest growth opportunities. That said, we're also looking at some strategic firms in the California market and Arizona markets that could be really nice for us as well.
So is there any part of the UHY story that you haven't shared with us that you'd like to share?
Well, I think, at UHY, it's just such a entrepreneurial firm. And, I think back to just so many great people here and memories. And I'm just most excited when I see, young people that we've mentored and we've grown and they've become partners and managing directors. And I guess that's what 30 years does to you. You see people grow through the organization, but it's so fulfilling. And I always say that, people think the pinnacle of your career is making a partner, is when you make partner. And it is. It's a very, great place to be after paying a lot of dues and working hard to finally make partner. But I always say that the real pinnacle of your career is when you make the next partner. And that's what we're doing here. We're changing lives. And that to me is one of the best thing we do here at UHY.
Stephen, I want to thank you for sharing your personal history and your stewardship of UHY. We wish you the best of luck going forward and keep us surprised as you move forward. Thanks a lot.
Edwin, thank you so much for your time, and it's going to be a great ride here, so let's stay in touch.